welcome to Laughing Monk Music. Steve Blaze, Lillian Axe, welcome back.
How
Been
are
a
you?
little bit. I'm good. I'm good. I was just saying, so you just had a tour a little while ago than before, girls'
Right.
school, and it was escaped me. Who
Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. Thank you. I know I
Yeah.
had him on too. It's just that old age, man. It's just creeping up every day. You know,
Yeah.
I can't find stuff in the refrigerator. So I mean, can't remember band names, right?
I'm
Uh,
telling you, I can't even find my keys. I had them a minute ago, but I don't know. So it's that memory thing starts getting tougher and tougher on you.
it is, and I'm sure you have to practice your runs and your solos and stuff a lot. And I know I know you got a lot going on, but when we're talking about guitar, let's not. I don't want to forget that. So you actually do teach guitar to other people
Well,
who want it in a program,
I
sort
did
of.
a long time
Talk
ago
about
when
it.
I first started playing in bands and stuff. I had a lot of students, man, maybe up to 100 students, and they were all like young kids. And
Hmm.
that was when the band had just gotten started up and stuff. So I'd go to their house. It's funny because where we practiced, we called it the Red Schoolroom, was this old abandoned schoolroom, and it was really terrible. It was dilapidated, but the lady let me use it as long as I taught her kid guitar lessons. But he was like 7 years old and he played violin. So it like 10 lessons into it, he still wanted to put the guitar on his shoulder like a violin. I'm like, this is not for you, buddy. But anyway, so and it was a really decrepit old room, but I used it. But I'd go to people's houses and I taught a lot of kids. And some of them I still, all these years later, still stay in touch with me. And a few of them have turned out to be really good and are doing music as a career. So um,
Wow.
I like doing it because I like showing and stuff, but
Mhm.
it's I think I want to like be able to just like touch them on the forehead and all the knowledge goes into them. You have to be really patient and it's time consuming as heck. So I decided I wanted to try to do something that was going to be easier for people because you go to their house and I always had them have a notebook and take a note on every single thing. They lose the
Mhm.
notebook, something happens or whatever, but that moment's lost, right? Uh,
Right.
they can't, that's before the days of videotaping things. So it's not like they could videotape the lesson. So I said, why don't I go ahead and just make, a 45-minute lesson that somebody, instead of paying me for the lesson, they pay for the the ability to have that lesson uh,
Whenever.
forever. Download it, and you've got the lesson forever. And I wanted to do it where it wasn't just me going over scale. So I broke it up in like 8 sections, and I have 8 lessons. It's four really like beginner to intermediate, and even some guys that have been playing for a long time have said, "Hey, I've learned a lot just going back over some of these basics." But I go over scales, chords. I talk about songwriting. I show them how to
Mhm.
play some Lillian Axe stuff. I answer questions, give them some technique things, and try to like break the monotony of of guitar lessons.
Yeah.
Because it can be quite boring. Try to get them to look outside the box. So you can go. It's called the Blaze method, and basically, if you're interested, they're not expensive at all. They're like 4 lessons for $100, and you own
Yeah.
them. They're yours. And so, I did it, and it's very time consuming to do it, because I have to have my videographer there. He's got to edit them. They got to get everything all, the graphics in, et cetera. So, but it's out there. And I'll pick it up again, but I got a lot in 8 lessons. So,
So you
but
got eight lessons.
you
Are
get
there
like
samples
some
out
kids
there?
like think they know everything already, and they're like,
Mhm.
I already knew that. I'm like, well, you're still playing in your bedroom at home, and you're 35 years old. Lose
I'm
it
gonna be
first
55
lesson.
and I'm still playing at home in my bedroom. That's the only place I can play. When I play alone, I'm still second best. I'm still not that good. I consider myself best when I'm alone.
But lesson one was leave your attitude away because there's
Yeah.
always you. I don't care how great you are, the greatest players on the planet have a lot to learn. So
Right.
that's the most important thing. So love it. Look forward to learning new stuff. I do all the time. Man,
I love playing it.
I learned stuff from a kid that's been playing for 6 months. There's always something you can learn. So, but anyway, that's the guitar lesson thing that I've been doing. So it's out there, and You
It's on
know,
the website, and the link will be there for people if they're interested
yeah, there's a
with
link
all this
on
other stuff.
LillianX.com.
Well, it's interesting. I think that's a fun thing. I think people do things. They like to teach it when they're in the moment, but then they go back, have to set it up and do the program. Like,
Right,
even if I do IT, I don't mind sitting when people talk about computers. Next thing you know, I'll be 3 hours in and teach them everything. But then if I have to do like all the time, I hate committing and planning out ahead. I
right,
love to do something in the moment.
yeah,
So I love to teach or do something in the moment. But if I have to plan it out, and I think that's where the challenge falls, because there's a lot of guitar programs out there and a lot of players, and it's good because everybody learns differently.
right,
What works for you might not work for somebody else. So maybe the
exactly,
program works for you. I tried it when I first started playing guitar only recently, since the internet. Having autism, I'm not very good at remembering stuff. But now when it's visual, whole new world
right,
for me now. 'Cause at least if I forget
right,
it, I can rewatch it. Because it's for pleasure. But the point is, some guitar players, I'm like, I must be horrible. And then I realized I tried other video lessons. I go, okay, I get it. It's different for different
right.
people. It's not
That's
the
true.
lesson, and they're not a bad teacher either. It's just not connecting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just,
it's completely
we're not
different.
right for each other.
Right.
But
And that's 100%. That's why, because I mean, there are a lot of great players out there, and a lot of guys giving lessons and stuff. So I'll even go through some of them and I'll just be like, hey, let me see what he's got to say. And yeah, that's cool. I like that, you know? But
yeah,
the thing about guitar playing is so much of it, once you get to the point where you can, the control of the neck and the relationship between these two hands together is where your
mhm,
speed comes from. It's where your technique, where those little innuendos and how you pick and your relationship with your pick to your strings, those are the things that make players unique and individual. It's
right.
not like you don't judge a guitar player by who's the fastest, who's the slow, who has the best bends. It becomes a whole pattern of how do you take all those emotions and feelings and what you think is melodic and as a demonstration of your feelings and make it come out on that instrument the way you can, and so many people get wrapped up in just the technical aspect and how many notes can I play and can I make it. I'm trying to do things that my what my heart's telling me, how can I make that come out on that
Mhm.
guitar to fit that emotion. Sometimes I like to play if the solo calls for it, then I do want to play fast stuff. I do want to, but it all depends on, does it work with the song? Does it work with how I feel when I get to that point? And I don't like to do guitar solos just for the sake of just, you know, ad-libbing and riffing. Like all of my solos, I can sing them. I can sing them note by note, and I know what it was because I learned that from listening to Brian May. Is that every one of his solos, I could not only was he just a great player and great technique, and his notes were beautiful, but he had melodies. You could every solo you could sing the melodies, and that's
Right.
what I like. Now I do like when somebody's just riffing and tearing it up and whatnot. That's always a great thing too. But there's a time and a place for it, and I'm trying to bridge the gap between two as much as I can. But that's a hard thing to teach somebody. How do you teach somebody to play from your heart? It just comes with experience and time.
And tools, I think one of the best things that you can do and other people can do, I think I've learned, is the best learning, mixing with that is also learning certain songs, going back and learning songs. I always say like, oh, I hated this. I got tired of hearing Hotel California the 18th billionth time on the radio. Then I picked up guitar 10 years ago. And for some reason, something came in front of me. I'm not a good reader by any means. But I started playing some of the chords. I looked at it. I'm like, that's not what I thought it would sound like on guitar. That's kind of interesting. So sometimes learning a song, even if you don't like it, or just learning something, playing it, is such a
I
great
agree.
teacher to
That's
reverse engineer it. And that's definitely a nerd thing. I think nerd brain.
No, I agree. And that's one thing I've told all of my students over the years, like learn everything. I used to do that too. I'd put something on and I didn't care if it was country or jazz or if it was
Mhm.
something on the radio. First thing I'd start listening to. And it's funny because by listening and learning songs and listening so much to different types of music, I can sit and I do all even like writing for Lillian, I write it in my head before I even touch a guitar. I can
Mhm.
listen to a song and tell you, oh yeah, that's the progression. It's C D E or whatever. Just by listening to it, listening to the relationship between the chords and listening to how it's fingered on the guitar or whatever, you can tell what's being played on there. And if you start listening to songs and starting to hear, I mean, there's only X amount of chord progressions there are. And if you think about it, it so many great songs have the same exact chord progressions in them.
But certain things with the sounds and the tones and the intuitions, that's your little flips
Yeah,
and the this and
the
that,
little things and the
and the
melody line,
finesse.
vocals and the tempo and the beat and the way it's mixed and what instrumentation. That's what makes it all unique. So once you start to do that and try to get like outside of the box of, you know, micro examining every little thing.
Mhm.
Oh, my note, I missed this note. I got to play this. Just sit back and listen to the song. Hum things in your head. Hum melodies over the tops of chords. You know, that's when I started to like when I was writing solos. I was like, I would sit back and listen to the section where I'd be playing a solo of it and just hum it in my head. What do I feel? And listening to classical music helped me out a lot with that because you would listen to these just amazing, you know, usually like violin
Oh yeah.
solo that really just were the tones and the attack and whatever. Just it was so emotional. Cellos too are another, and start
It makes
listening.
sense that you do listen to classical. When I
Yeah,
hear,
oh
when I
yeah,
think about, because I listen to it. Like Apple has an app, see an app for classical.
yeah,
Like I'm metal,
mhm,
but I listen to that app and it has like it's like
yeah.
a guest, there's a list that says bangers, and I listen to that one because there's so much power in classical music that is so
Oh,
metal,
absolutely. And that's why
and it makes sense that knowing your music, it makes sense now to
well,
hear
that's
that
why
from
when
you.
I started playing guitar when I was 6, I started playing classical and flamenco. So I would that I guess that mentality was, you know, ingrained in my head at an early age. So that's where, you know, there's such a strong correlation between I think classical music and hard rock but
Oh
you know
yeah,
it's there in everything. It's just different ways of expressing it. You know, I'm sure in jazz and even in country and R&B there are, you know, there are influences from years ago of classical music, just the movements and how the instruments, you know, the counterpoint in melodies and how they work over each other. That's how I really learned how to in songwriting work about on how to layer things. You start listening to classical pieces. There was no percussion in those, you know, maybe cymbals here
yeah.
or whatever, but it was the percussion came from the percussion of the instrument. Like you would hear the cello move, and then here's the violin, here's the oboe, here's the, you know, the flute or whatever, and you watch them move over each other, and you start to see how they layered.
But it's pure emotion though too. Like I know people like the blues is emotion, and it is the everyone always makes the blues is like such a go-to, almost commercially speaking. But to me,
Right.
it's classical.
Yeah,
Is just as emotion. It's
it
just
really
it's
is.
thing.
I
I'm not
think
knocking
it
the blues.
all
Don't get me wrong or anything. But I'm just saying. But people need to look at the classical. I'm like that is just as long and emotional.
yeah, and it just goes back to, you know, I guess, you know, when the first cavemen hit the first two stones together and said,
Right?
"Oh, you're on."
Something.
How do we do this? And it's just an evolution. So it's great, you know. And one of the things that I learned is like step outside of everything. For don't get so wrapped up in
Yeah.
and you know the scales and the techniques and this and that. Just work on the melody and way sounds and melodies and movements and stuff like that. Let that get into your soul, into
Mhm.
your system, and then, you know, do just play and practice and, you know, play along with everything. Put the radio on, and if there is such a thing, just you know, find find a record that you like and just throw it on and play, and then you'll start going, oh yeah, oh that's a C. Well, there's a C over here too. Yeah, that's how you make. You know, you just start
Yeah.
learning, and it becomes fun.
I will say this, I won't people that are on guitar people, we won't burn them out. But I do want to say other. This is important because I didn't know this when I was so much younger when I started. If you can't remember the notes or play by whatever, you just play by ear. Everybody plays guitar differently. I've talked to every guitar players in the world, and not everybody can read music. Not everybody can hear notes. Some guitar players literally have to memorize it and just play by what they do playing. Some people can't read sheet music. A lot of them can't. A lot of them don't practice. A lot of them have to practice to get the calluses. Every guitar player is literally different. So you don't have to be, like an Ingve shredder in neoclassical. You don't have to be a C plays when you're hearing the progressions. You could just be somebody and still be a great
Yeah,
guitar player.
right.
You're not a failure if you can't do those things because not everybody's brain is oriented to do that. And that does not and will not prevent you from being a fantastic guitar player because I can name a billion fantastic guitar players
Right.
that can't do that.
And that's the whole thing. It's like how many, uh, you know, there's room for lots of great guitar players. I can name 100 of them right now, and I like listening to every one of them.
Mhm.
And it's because
Cool.
every one of them brings something different to the table, and that's a great thing, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's important. I just want people to know that because some people go, I can't play because I can't read music or I'll never be able to read. You don't need to read music. First off, enjoy yourself. I think everybody should play guitar and have fun. I just wanted to put that out there because it's like, don't get worried if you don't understand this stuff, because I can't follow half the stuff you do. But tell you what, I enjoy what I'm doing. I can kind of raw follow it while I'm in the moment. Just enjoy it, and there's no limitations. You
and
know.
that's it. Be the best at what you can be. Because I mean, you take like my favorite player of all time is Brian May from Queen. He
Hmm.
didn't play like Yngwie, and Yngwie is a great player, and I like
Yeah.
the way Yngwie plays. And there's a place in my heart for playing like that. There's a place in my heart for Brian May and for Michael
Yeah.
Schenker and Uli John Roth and all these
Yeah.
guys that I think are great. You don't have to. That's why I hate guitar lists, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Unless I'm on it, you know, and so then I'm all right. But um, because you can't rank a great guitar player. You can just, it's what you like. It's like ranking food, you know, pizza or spaghetti. What's the best food? Well, whatever you like better. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and you don't
Right.
even have to have in your head that something I like better. We all want to do that. We all want to go, well, my favorite is if I just enjoy it all. You know, there's a great place for all of it.
There is room for everybody. You
Yeah,
know, and actually, I will use it as our lead-in because that's the thing with music now. Lillian Axe has changed over the years.
yeah,
You always for the constant. The band is built on a strong melody, a big hook, chorus, very epic sounding. Kind of goes along with what we're saying here. Sometimes might have a little Star Wars feel in it. Not saying anything. A little inside joke there. A little inside joke there. No, but on a serious note, your melodies, that's who the band is, and you've always had good vocalists, and the vocalists have always had you guys have always had great lyrics. You've always put in. You know, it is a car. Your car.
right,
You're the engine. The driver. You know you're picking out your race car driver.
right,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
right,
It
yeah.
is, you know. So you had some great releases lately. You've had some repackaging. Finally, some things have gotten out on top of it. New albums. You've got some great concept albums. You're not slowing down by any means. You've been touring.
No,
You
we're
know.
right in the middle. We just started recording like 2.5 months ago. Started the brand new record. We just signed a new deal to Brave Words Records.
Yep.
It's from Brave.
Congrats, by the way.
Yep, thank you. And so it's great because our entire catalog, other than the first two albums, which Universal still owns and won't let go, but the entire rest of the catalog is all together under Cherry Red now. So it's all out there. Plus, we put two new box sets out last year, part
Yep.
1 and 2, because we had so much material, we had to split them up. You know, we did Psalms for Eternity, and then From Womb to Tomb, which is, in my opinion, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody says their latest album is their greatest. Well, I think it is because you become more. I guess you're more in tune with yourself. The older you get, the more life experiences you have, the more that becomes even a bigger representative of who the band is. So I think it's our tour de force. We're working on a new record. It's called the 10 Commandments. And right now I'm like, holy cow, this is just coming out. This is going to be even more whatever. You know, it's hard to say too, because it's like you're out there, all your kids. Which is your favorite album? I don't know. I love them all, you know, but they are all different and unique because I'm different than I was yesterday.
Well, being a parent, you can love some of your kids more than others, and you can make them compete for it every day.
Exactly.
That's what I do. I say every day is a new chance to be a new favorite. Get to work. No.
I, but it's coming out. It's coming out great, and
Yep.
probably really honestly won't be released till beginning of the year because it won't be finished till end of summer, and you know you need several months for all the distributors and the label to get everything cropped up, and you don't
Well,
want
this is
to.
brave year. And plus, this is the first big year for them.
Yeah,
Second year in, coming out
yeah,
as a label, and you want them to come out strong. You want this
oh
label to
yeah,
succeed because it's a lover. I mean, the label itself and the owners and all those guys, they are lovers of metal and so
oh
and
yeah,
rock. So you want this to be done right, and you
yep,
want it to survive and do well. You
yeah.
know.
And so they've been
Uh,
great so far. I mean, they're letting us
yeah.
do our thing. There's no pressure, no rush, and we're working at a nice, comfortable pace. And it's unique in that it's everything on this album is brand new written. It's not like some stuff I pulled from the vaults been writing
Mhm.
for many years, so I have a lot of stuff that I've not used that I really like to use this one day, or I like this is all brand new. And the last four songs haven't even been written yet, and we're in the middle of doing the album. So
Wow.
that you don't get much fresher than that.
No, that's
But
really that's good, exciting to hear that. I mean, thanks for sharing that. One of the things with obviously your first two albums were the commercial things that the labels are going to hold on to forever,
mhm,
until they don't have until they can't anymore.
right,
They're good albums, and I think they came out at a time where the world had eyes on it. We were all teenagers
yeah,
or young 20s, so that was a financial window. I always say when people fall in love with stuff during their late teens or
yeah,
during that window, and then they go to work, college, and there's a break, and they come back now. That's why I think if there's always like a resurgence because of COVID. We've got a double resurgence because of our age with
right,
music and rock.
yeah,
Um, but I always say this with artists that are on my show because I choose who I have on my show.
right,
By doing that, go back and listen. There's no such thing. I mean, the next album, the other albums came after were just as good, just
yeah,
because they were on commercial radio and commercial radio was doing. And I don't want to berate another artist by any means, but you know what I'm saying. It wasn't on
yeah,
there. Um, it was just strong. Like it wasn't. They didn't suck, or they just like with one hit wonders. There's a reason why they one hit wonder. They've been crafting good songs. A lot of these bands. So a lot of
yeah,
their songs are good after that too. They even get better.
yeah.
Bands from 30 years later, they're still writing good albums. So to sell yourself on that is kind of a sucky thing. So I love the fact you have it all out. Hopefully you can get retains because it'd be nice if you get a little more extra ching back from those albums because you wrote them. But it's
Right.
great you have the other stuff out. And I do agree. I think your songwriting is just as strong and probably even better now
I
as
think it is.
as it was too.
It's
The,
still
the,
me, but I've got years and years more life experience, not only just in what to write about, but I've heard more things. I like to think that we're consistently growing in ways that we don't even realize.
I mean,
eh,
your content has changed. Your lyrical content has definitely changed.
yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah. Because when I was in 22, 23 years old, I didn't have family and kids and been around the world and watched man screw things up and do great things and do stupid things. There's more and more things to write about, and I'm more of a
religion has become bigger in your life too.
oh,
Your
absolutely.
beliefs has definitely
Yeah,
changed.
I'm born again Christian. I always have been, but I wasn't as wise and smart, and in 10 years I hope I'm 10 times wiser than I am now or whatever. But that's the whole thing, is the goal is to
Sometimes being smart is overrated. Don't push it. Sometimes just being
well,
dumb and happy is good.
yeah, but smart isn't. I know a
I'm
lot of
messing you.
people that are
I
very
know.
smart that have low IQs, but
Yeah,
they're still smart. It's all
I
depends on
know. It's
what.
all defensive. I'm just teasing you about that being too smart. You know too much about what's going on. You can be really bummed out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's what they said.
So
You can't just the Dalai Lama. How can you be so stressed? How can you be so happy when you know all the world's things? He goes, you can be aware of things. You just don't have to carry them on you. And you're like,
that's very well put. Yeah, I agree.
you know,
I tend to carry
um,
things on me all,
I know.
but I try.
That's the problem with being too smart. You don't want to ever let it go. Everything, you know what I mean? But your lyrics though, your lyrics just sidetrack there. The lyrics though are good, and a lot of us have grown with you. They're a lot relatable. So not,
Yeah,
and those of us that aren't all too religious, like linked just to like being about one thing. The uh, the content and the intent of your lyrics still remains worldly. That makes
right.
sense. Like I'm not born again, but your lyrics are very relatable and positive. I enjoy listening to them, and I enjoy being a good person. You know what I'm saying? So we're on the same page. It's just the exact
Well,
dots and I's are a little different.
here's
Maybe.
the difference. It's like when I go to church, they play praise and worship music,
Mhm.
which is all praising God and whatever. But for me, I couldn't write. I not that I couldn't, but it would for me to be able to like sing about spiritual things and about God and the devil and
Mhm.
man's fall and man's rise, and so I can't do it in a way like that. I've got to be, you know, harsh and to the point. Like, for example, on From Womb to Tomb, the last album, it's about life and birth and spirituality and meeting God and meeting the devil and all the whole things we go through in life. But I'm not gonna, I try to present it in a way like for the Golden Dragon, the song. It's got some pretty, uh, a lot of the lyrics. I've been accused of it, but not in a bad way. But like these are darker, more somber lyrics, and to say, but I have to. That's how I express my disdain with how man keeps screwing himself up all the time.
Right.
He keeps succumbing to the darker side of spirituality. And I can't do it by the devil is bad. Stay away from him. Don't do drugs. Is that no? I'm going to talk about what happens when you do that and how screwed up things are when you screw up and how good things can be. And but do it in a way that it's not for me. It's not contrived. It's me not trying
Right.
to tell you that you should be doing something. It's me presenting a picture of how I perceive good versus evil, and hopefully it hits people. Now, when I was 22 or 23, it was a little bit more, tongue in cheek,
Right.
in a way, like people like, she likes it on top. Oh, that's a sexy song. I'm like, not when you get into the lyrics. It's
I
about
know it's funny because I read that and it's the same thing as that, but when I knew right away though it's totally not what it's about actually. The lyrics are 100%
right.
totally different. It's but it that's the
But
surface and that's how people are.
it's not like I wasn't aware that people were going to think
No, but
like
it's a
that.
fun. No, but it's a fun on
And
words.
I
I mean,
did it on purpose. I'm like, yeah, make them think that, and then show
yeah,
the flip side and what it's really about. And I thought that people would relate to it. And they seemed that like they did. They understood, like, wow, when you hear the lyrics, it's not about,
no,
a sexual position. It's about a lifetime position, and
right,
somebody that it thrives and I'm watching it all around me every day, even these days, people will do anything to get uh, approval. Everybody wants to be liked and loved, but they don't seem to know how to go about doing it genuinely, because we're not really being taught how to be genuine. We're being taught that if you got a lot of money and you drive this great car, you're going to get this and you're going to get that. And the majority of people that get those things the incorrect way are unhappy. And I don't care what you say. People go, oh, if I had a lot of money, I'd be happy. You might be happier in some instances, like you might be happier in that you don't have to worry about paying your bills, but that void inside your heart and being happy with life and being with
mhm,
people that you love and having a good friend and family base, you can't buy that. That
no,
isn't bought. If you think you can buy it, I know lots of guys, a lot of money, they have a whole lot of so-called friends, and the second that guy loses his money, those people are gone. You know, um,
yeah.
so
It
uh, that's kind of
listen,
my
money amplifies what you are. So if you're a grumpy person and you're not happy, you can be
uh,
an unhappy person with a lot of money.
if you I've said that so many times. I agree 100%. If you were an idiot without money, you're gonna be a rich idiot.
You're
You
a
know
rich
what I'm
idiot.
saying?
That's right.
Idiot money doesn't all of a sudden make you.
Right.
I'm a better person now because now I've got fame and money. No,
No.
you have to become a better person. That's why it's funny, because you see a lot of people that are very financially and fame oriented success, and you're like, wow, man, he's really an idiot. He's a really jerk.
Yeah.
No, maybe he's really trying to just stay away from things because he
Yep.
sees how everybody acts towards him because of those reasons. So I sympathize in certain ways. And then I see other people that have that are real jerks just because like that. But like, I'm like, these people like me because I'm, in this band or whatever, or if I wasn't, and I've got people in my life that I have been um, that have like basically, you know, walked away and not been close to me whenever I was like, taking a hiatus or doing a new project or
Yeah.
something wasn't good. I've had several people do that to me. Some well-known people that I've helped out in my life and stuff like that. And then they,
Mhm.
when they need to go, they disappear. But that's life. It's not just in music. That's people. So, you know, that's why you got very few people in life you can really fully trust. And that doesn't mean you don't have
Yeah.
friends, but you got to know how far and who in your life can you really just fully trust that would take a bullet for you, and you to them too as well, right? You have to be the friend that you want other people to be to you. And so, I've got a lot of people. I got a great friends, but I also, I know how and why and what the extent of how they fit into my life. And then I've got
Right.
some people that it's just like in my family and close friends to me. That's everything. You know what I'm saying? They're, you know, I'm completely transparent. I know they would do anything in the world for me. Doesn't matter if I was, you know, a veterinarian or whatever. It doesn't matter what I'd be. They'd be in my life, you know. So that's just part of that. That's a part of life, part of growing, right? And going out beating up things right now. Let's get this record done. We're working at a comfortable, smooth pace. But what I'm hearing in the studio every time we're in there is just like, wow. I mean, I always have very high expectations, but I'm like, now it's just like, I don't know. It's like we're in this zone and we're just, you know, adding things on here and the dynamics and the guys, you know, Brent's vocals are great. And you know, Sam and Wayne and Mike are just, it's just sound is so good and big and epic. And it's just, I feel like I'm in that writing zone where the ideas, I'm not fighting them. They're epic and they're beautiful and they're powerful. And I was like, just keep moving at this pace. We don't have to go out and do shows. Let's get this record done. And when we do, we'll have more, I guess, a little more ammunition to get out. And it's our 11th studio album, and it'll be our 18th overall release. So it's like a good time, new label, let them do their thing.
Wow.
Let them do their promotion. We're probably going to have a new agent as well. You know, things look very promising, and everybody in the band's getting along fantastic. I mean, we actually like each other a lot. We hang out, you know, when we're not playing, and so that's
important.
What we're
that's
doing
important
right
nowadays.
now.
I mean, and then just maybe think when you say that, I know you're a big paranormal guy. Maybe when you come with the album in the summer, fall is a great time for maybe a New England paranormal rock and roll tour. Just saying, on old dead haunted places where I live.
I have put it out there. I've put it out there many times. You know, we've actually, you know, have come close to having a show, Ghosts and Guitars.
Put the energy out there now myself, people.
We've been shopping this paranormal thing forever. We have a documentary that's being edited right now. It's just TV's worse than radio, you know. And then you see so many really horribly bad TV shows coming out. It's like, you know, and we were like this close like 8 times, you know. It's like, it's just frustrating. But we love doing paranormal.
What about doing it yourself though? I mean, because there's some weird small TV platforms, and I want a dog to me because some of them start well and they pick up what they can, but they pick up a lot of other extra weird programming you get in these weird platforms, and you get locked into it.
There
and no
is.
one can see it because it gets buried into the world streaming. Is there a way that you could do it yourself? Like, because you've already done the work, you're kind of like a turnkey operation already at this point. You just need a place to post it and then just manage it. I mean, that might be the avenue for the way to do it.
And then it was like, but we were so close to like an actually big thing several times.
Right. Let's get a big one that's different.
Yeah, but that's it. So now we're at the point where, you know, this is a great opportunity. We filmed this documentary like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And
we've talked about it. I was going to ask you about that. That was like my lead in for that one. So I was like, I want to see it already. Like,
yeah, so do I. And I keep on talking to the editor every day. And I'm like, you know, Todd, what's going on? It's tough to edit those things, but he's brilliant at it. So we're trying to get that done by the end of the year too, because that's something. If a documentary, if you have and we've got some decent connections, so we probably can get the documentary picked up. If not, we'll do it ourselves for sure. But
I'm just pulling for whatever I can see. I'm excited for whatever you can do, and I'd love to see you have success.
Appreciate
Steve,
that.
I want to thank you. You know, catching up again. Maybe we'll do the album again like we always do. We'll break down.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you get done.
If you got anything for you to listen to, I'll be sending it to you.
Yeah, please do. People go to the website, check out the lessons, you know, support the band, the albums, the packages. And if you really heard a few of the hits, listen to the full albums, man. Now it's great that it's packaged because it's so long. And like if you're like an iTunes, you can just stream it forever. Like you don't have to change anything. You've heard it once, shuffle it. It's fun. It goes good shuffled, you know. All the songs hold together in any order. I mean, obviously you work hard, especially in the song orders we talked about, but you know, in continuity, but it's still fun. Your songs still stay on their own, so you can't even do a shuffle where it's not gonna be like that. Doesn't feel the same. But Womb to Tomb and stuff is our theme albums. You know, you really want to soup to nuts those bad boys.
Start all the way through. Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, man, congratulations on the show success, dude. It's always a pleasure, brother. Yeah, and as soon as the record's about ready and we'll do it again, and send it out to you and get the seal of approval as soon as
Well,
possible.
my show's about honesty and being, artists I'm friends with and support. Honestly, it's not about money. Believe me, I'm just, it costs me money. I don't,
brother, that's not why we do it,
I don't
and that's
do it.
why
No,
we
it's
keep on making new records instead of like, let's go out and play the old stuff. That's the whole idea. That's why we make new records, because that's what we do. We love it. I'll do another
right.
10 new records, so.
You got to
Always a pleasure, brother. Appreciate it. Congrats on everything, and
yeah,
stay
man.
in touch. I'm here.
All right.
God
Same
bless you,
thing.
brother.
Reach out, man.
All right, man.
Take care. Bye bye.
See you. Bye-bye.